Alright, welcome to Man Tips. I'm going to show you how to replace a warm washer valve, or warm water valve, pardon, on an LG washer. This is what it looks like. Alright, first thing you want to do is you want to pull it off the back of the wall, like so, which we did here. You'll also notice that I've unplugged it and turned the warm water off, which would be in that direction. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the bottom screws out of these little plastic holders right here. These will allow you to grip these and try to pull it off from the back. There's one on each side, the other one's right here. So it's the bottom screw. Alright, now that I got those back screws off, I couldn't pull it from the back, so I had to kind of put a bunch of force on this side. And you're able to kind of slide it back. And once you slide it back, it should be able to come off pretty easily if you can have both hands. So let me have both hands. Alright, so now that the top's off, this is the warm water valve right here. So what was happening is it was leaking kind of out of the top of this thing. You can see that there's some kind of residue where you could see some water coming out. And it was leaking. One of the ways you know it's this valve is it was leaking while the washer was off. So what was coming in, the warm water was coming up to this valve. This valve wasn't, the seals in it weren't holding, and it was coming out here. So in order to replace it, and take this power off of it, you're going to see you got a little hose clamp right here. It's pretty tight, so I'm going to take a pair of channel locks and it's a little difficult to get in here, but you can see just like that I got it. Oop. And I'm probably going to need my other hand here, so let me go ahead and pull that off. Alright, now that I got this hose off, you can see what I did was I took the channel locks, I pushed this in, pulled this back, and the hose fits on there pretty hard, so pulled off. There is a little residual potentially in there, so I had a little waterfall hit the ground. Not that big of a deal. Alright, so now on the back side of this, you're probably going to have to hold with one hand and put your channel locks around here and kind of loosen that hose up. Alright, so what you end up doing is, got my channel locks on it kind of like this. You see it's able to move pretty freely, and you're going to do this so you can take it off. Alright, now that you got that off, there's two screws, and let me flip you around on this back side. See, it says hot. There's a screw here and a screw here, so we're going to go ahead and now take those off. Alright, now that you took that off, here's the old one. We're going to go back with the new one. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do is those screws that came out here, you're just going to put it right back up into this little slot. Right here. And again, you're going to screw it in from the back. Right here and there. Alright, now that you got the two screws in on either side, you can get this kind of hand tight, the water hose back on there, and take your channel locks. I'm going to have to kind of use two hands for this, but let's see if I can do it. And you get that one. Alright, once you get that nice and tight, you're going to end up taking the hose here, and you got to kind of push it back on real good. And you'll take your channel locks, push this in, and slide it back to where the indentation was. Alright, so there you go. You'll take the power clip, stick it right back on there, and you put the cover back on. Really, before you put the cover back on, go ahead and just put the warm water back to it. And now you should be able to see that now the leak you had, you no longer have. So I'm just going to put the cover on this and call it a day. I won't be showing you that part, but it'll be good. I promise. It's really easy. It goes right back on the way it came off. Keep in mind that this is probably one of the easier things to check if you do have a leak. You can get up. Now, in order to take the front cover off of this, it's a lot more work. I did it earlier before I ended up finding this, so I recommend you don't do that. And that's replacing the warm water valve. Man Tips, presented by the Talking Small podcast.